Feels like it's been a while since we last talked about something serious. Alright, so let's talk about the strike and why it's pointless as shit. So when it comes down to things, we already know that the strike's been going on for like a month now, and it's mainly with the film industry and TV and stuff like that. And to be perfectly honest, now it's starting to maybe become part of the video game industry, because apparently this month they're going to be having negotiations with certain video game companies, and with that going on, there might be a strike on our hands. I say might because they haven't done it yet, but they're considering it. So when it comes down to things, what does this mean for us? Basically, maybe delays in games. Basically, may not necessarily get the games that we expected at the time frame and stuff like that. You know, what you obviously see what's going on in Hollywood right now. But here's my whole thing. I think the strikes is effing pointless. And I only mean it in this way. If this is how they're going to go about, you know, the future of entertainment, right? As far as the films and movies go, I don't want to see no type of movie where we gotta go out and see this very strong female character doing nonsense again. Or we gotta see, you know, this movie with progressivism ass stuff in it that no one cares for at the end of the day. No one wants to see a whole bunch of woke shit when they're watching a movie, right? Unless you're just aiming to do that, then okay, fine. But you're gonna lose money because majority of the time people ain't gonna care, right? Like, the only movie I can think of right now that I want to go see when it does get done is Mario. It's not Mario, but like I see Mario, that's fine. But like, I want to see Sonic 3. I want to see Sonic 3, and that's the only movie I really give a shit about watching, honestly. And when it comes down to things, there's not really anything else appealing, because every other movie and every other thing kind of feels boring as shit, or it feels the same. Or if I'm being perfectly honest with you, it's just not necessarily interesting, because one of just personal not really having interest, but also two, how many times we gonna keep seeing the same type of tropes in movies that's been already been bad and people don't like constantly over and over again. Like, take a look at this whole Snow White situation, right? With that damn movie. How many people is going to actually go out and watch the Snow White movie? I bet not a lot of people, because they're going to be like, what the hell is this dumb ass horse shit? Why did they F up the story of what was already fine when it comes to Snow White? A female that is like being nice and kind and shit, and having these dwarf people as well, and then go as far as to have, like, you know, this prince come through and save her life and shit like that. Why can't we have a movie like that? Because progressivism, women can't be weak or be shown weak anymore, even though that's literally exactly some of the shit that you see on the internet a lot of the damn time, doing some weak ass shit. Then you also have, you know, them having to be, then also being like, oh, we're strong female characters, we have strong wills, we're stoic, and we know what we want, we're conservative, and we know what we want to be. Tell that to all the OnlyFans chicks that's doing all that stuff, right? At the same time, it's just like, bro, no one wants to watch a movie that is like that. Plus, you jacked up the original. I never even seen the original, but I can tell you that's some horse shit what they trying to do. I'm not necessarily gonna lie. So, no one wants that at the end of the day. If you're telling me that writers have to get paid to produce shit like this, I don't want them to get paid at all. I'll be like Hollywood too. I'm like, huh, they gonna keep making this horse shit? I don't want this shit. They don't. No one wants this shit at the end of the day. So yeah, I would be like, yeah, y'all not getting paid either. I'll be more than happy to not pay your ass and use some AI, because maybe AI could come through with some actual heat than whatever garbage is coming through a lot of Hollywood movies and stuff, right? And that's kind of how it's been and how I've been feeling about movies for a long time, as well as video games, because let's put this under the damn light. And there's way more to video games that people should be striking it for than just the writing aspect. Do not get me wrong, there's a lot of games out there with horrible ass writing and trash ass characters and trash ass stories. Just like the movies, it's not all games and all movies across the board that's bad, but there's a shit ton of them that does be like that, and it doesn't make any kind of sense of why they are like that in some shape and form, right? Because outside of writing, we got nonsense when it comes to censorship, and we have nonsense when it comes to certain games in the West being fine and able to be showed and show certain scenes But over if it's a different country, mainly like Japan or something like that, and they show the exact same thing with a different game, but with a different art style or something like that, for some reason it gets censored to high heaven for some reason, and it doesn't necessarily make any kind of sense. We have in the writing department sometimes wording and sentencing that gets toned down even though it helps out the damn story as a whole. Like again with the Final Fantasy 16 thing with Jill, how she was like in English, oh, you put these children in chains and then you murdered them. But in the Japanese one, she says you violated these people and then you murdered them and put them in chains and stuff like that. Give you a whole different vibe of what the hell the cutscene was actually trying to convey. And it was amazing in Japanese. Why the hell is that being censored in, the West? Like, I want to hear how crazy shit gets in this damn game. How am I supposed to care for this character if you just put on the baby boots? That's be like if she says, like, oh, well, you just enslaved these people and then you gave them cake afterwards. How dare you? Like, what? What is this, Jill? What is this bullshit? I didn't come here for this. So that's like something on the writing department that absolutely does suck. And then that's, again, not only the only problem that gaming has that really sucks. There's been problems where characters had come back after so long and then they end up getting changed for some damn reason just to fit the normal modern standards of things, which they really didn't need to be changed in the first damn place. There is moments and times where, again, censorship happens to overseas games, but not necessarily happen to the Western games that has the same amount of content, if not even worse. Then there is games that's also like, then a lot of the crazy and more raunchier side of the mature rating of games used to be really more crazy and a lot more, open to what they wanted to do. For example, Mortal Kombat with having like, a lot of crazy ass shit in there, and also like the female characters with their costumes and stuff that used to look sexy as hell, but now we can't have that anymore for some weird reason. But we can have all the violence that we want. Or basically the Skullgirls incident, where basically they changed a lot of stuff because people were being sensitive, even though it's a 10-year-old game, and no one was being sensitive towards any of the panty shots, any of the egrets, armbands, none of Big Band's story because of racism supposedly. Like, no one was caring about any of this stuff until other people got their hands on it, right? Or even on a bigger scope of things. Let's talk about the prices of games now. $70. Why do we have to pay for $70 of a game where a game could be bad and it may not necessarily be all that great, but you pricing it at $70 anyway? I get games are getting bigger and harder to, make now, but at the end of all things, that still shits on the average casual consumer who probably doesn't necessarily have a lot of money to begin with, and they just want to buy their own favorite game. But now everything's $7, so now we gotta rethink things. Buying a game is like buying a car at this point. It feels like that's what this is leading towards, because, bro, not everybody has $70 just to spend and chuck out the damn game that they want to go get, honestly, right? Now we have to kind of basically save our money in a way where, we have to get games that we really, really like, honestly, and only the games that we really, really like. Because I was looking forward to getting Persona 3 at some point. I was looking forward to it. Here's the problem now. It's $70. I'm not paying $70 for a Persona 3, a game that's already been out before. I don't give a shit if it's already been remade. I'm just going to be very honest with you. I'm not going to do that, right? And the only game, again, as I said before, that I would pay $70 for because I need to know what happens would be Kingdom Hearts. If it's not Kingdom Hearts, I'm not paying for it. I'd rather watch it on YouTube. And as much as I would like to play it, I'm not necessarily going to fork over the $7. I'll wait till it go on sale. Then on PlayStation side, the price ranges of the subscription services goes up, or is going to go up in this month, essentially. Where they used to be, not necessarily too bad. Like, they're already bad, but, it's like, it is what it is. But now they're going up even more? For what exactly? And it's not going to go back down anytime soon? Like, what is happening here? So with the whole strike thing happening and with people going on strike, I don't want people to just go on strike just because of your pay or just because of replacement potentially of AI and things like that. especially if this was going to happen with the gaming industry. I don't give a shit about you going on strike about your stupid ass pay when it comes to your writing and things like that. If it's going to be the exact same garbage that's already been for years on years upon years already. And not only should you be going on a strike for your actual writing, I want you to go on a strike because the price of games is being a little too ridiculous. Granted, I understand a lot of work goes into games. I'm not necessarily taking from it, but at the end of the day, there's gonna be a point where people ain't gonna just want to pay for this shit, right? Let's just be perfectly honest. Not everybody's gonna pay for a $70 effing game. Not everybody's gonna do that. Not necessarily everybody's gonna be sitting here just to play a game for your shitty ass writing. No one's gonna really F with that type of thing. Sometimes people want to see the crazy things that happen in games and not be toned down. Or sometimes a female character can actually look fine and sexy as hell while still being badass, right? There's so much shit that goes into the video game side of things, hell, even movie side too, that people should consider and strike for, but no one does that because they only looking for the one damn thing. To the average consumer, if I'm being honest, the only thing that is hurting us is a delay on certain things. That's essentially is it. But when it comes down to other things, especially of the video game sphere, there's so much that you could change, honestly, with a strike, right? Again, the $70, the bump up in subscription money, the changes when it comes to censorship and stuff like that, and let's be honest, the xenophobia of different games when it comes to how they're being censored and reviewed and stuff like that, when other games in the West is perfectly fine with the same amount of content and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense, right? It's like no one is open to ideas when it comes to games now. Everything has to be super triple A realisticism with all the types of budget in the world, but no one can ever be like really extravagant and do the crazy and wilder things, right? Like with all the triple A games that's out there and that's coming out, of all the games this year, I'm not necessarily gonna lie, I was more invested in getting and playing Rain Code out of any of the games that came out this year. And it's just a detective anime looking ass game, right? But I had fun with it, I enjoyed it, and by far it's worth more money than I would say than any of these games that's potentially coming out with all the progressivism and censorship and stuff like that, honestly. So at the end of the day, if you're going to go on strike, yes, your pay is important, but if you're going to get paid the big bucks, I expect big buck content of what you're writing down. I expect some actual heat of what is going down when it comes to what you're going to get, right? Because I didn't come here for a stupid ass woman trying to be strong-willed as shit, even though that's not necessarily important. We can have weak female characters, and we don't necessarily need a shit ton of censorship or try to be babyfied when it comes to, you know, certain games and how they've been, even though they've been crazy for years, but now they're starting to be soft and weak again. Like, absolutely not. Because people are sensitive now, who cares about the people? Honestly, at the end of the day, I want to see people actually go on strike for more than just their pay. I want them to actually mean that they're gonna make better content and actually provide better and other things that can be put into, especially even like fictional games as well, that honestly just make things better as a whole, not just for them but for the consumer as well, right? So that's essentially what I mean. I do want the, you know, the writers and stuff to get paid and get respected, but only if they're going to write some actual good heat. That's what I want. I don't want no sensitive, you know, progressivism ass stuff. I just want the writers to be paid by writing actually good stories, stories that people will actually care for in years as time goes on, right? Because anybody can make a shitty ass story about a weird ass female character that doesn't need no man to be gay. Anybody can do that. It's the most basic shit. It's all you do. So yes, at the end of all things, at the end of everything I've said, yes, I do want the writers paid, but only if they're going to back it up with what they're going to do and what they're going to write. Other than that, if that's not going to be the case and they're not necessarily going to get actually into what they need to do with the writing and stuff, and more nonsense is going to keep coming out like it's already been, then nah, y'all could be going on somewhere else. Perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. So yeah, that's essentially all I really have when it comes to this one. again, I get the striking when it comes to your pay. But at the end of all things, if it's not going to change, then what the hell is the point of paying you, right? You might as well let AI take your job if that's the case. Because, really, and then honestly, that's also like been shown that woke content is not necessarily the most helpful thing on the planet. Like, people have not been having faith in that shit, obviously, and it shows. You would think people would learn by now not to do that type of content anymore, but they still do because they trying so damn hard for some damn reason to please some damn body, right? Unless you just want everybody to be basically Volition at this point, or become a dead franchise like Saints Row, then go ahead, be more than happy to do it. Because at the end of all things, if that's what y'all all are going to provide, and that's the only thing that you can do, then yeah, let everything burn. At that point, you might as well. So that's essentially, again, all I have to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your outs. Also follow me on the socials. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon is available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.